Hello, hello. Why am I... Okay. I'm just not hearing myself here. Okay. I turned it down too loud. Or too much. Sorry, guys. I have a bad migraine today. I woke up at like 4 in the morning with it. And I'm still kind of struggling with the after effects. It doesn't hurt so bad, but I still feel lousy. So, I'm struggling through that today. And so that's hence the recording in the dark. I can't, lights really bother it. Even my computer screen is annoying it a little bit right now. So, there's that. So I apologize for, being a little off my game today, but this is part 2 of the episode 3, the investigation. I had all sorts of parts planned to this, and unfortunately what had happened was, so my internet, or my laptop had been acting a little wonky, so I did a complete reset, and when I did, I re-downloaded Streamlabs onto my computer, which is what I use to stream on YouTube, and it totally reset. For some reason, it reset the audio whatever settings of my mic, which, it kept all my other settings. Everything else was normal, just my mic setting completely it forgot, and therefore I recorded many pre-recorded episodes with no audio, and unfortunately I have to re-record a bunch of videos, and this is one of them. So I apologize also for that, but it didn't air, so that was good. It was already scheduled to premiere tonight, but I'm redoing it, and I'm going to end it in this second part because I don't think we need to read through. I had compiled all of the police reports and the investigation statements and everything into one big document, and it was 187 pages, and we went through the majority of the investigation right at the onset of when Rosalio went missing in part 1. So I'm not going to continue going through this packet that I put together. We'll come back to it at the very end. I did want to talk about the BLOOD spatter analysis, or at least the credentials of the person, of the analyst, of the analyst. So anyways, I am going to kind of switch gears here from what I had planned. We're going to look at, so I'm going to kind of guide you through a map. This is the map of part of Wisconsin in the Milwaukee-Madison area. You can see Madison over here, and Milwaukee's right about here. In this starred area, you can see near Pheasant Prairie. This is Kenosha. And there's Racine, you can see. So this is actually this mark on the map is Rosalio's location, where his apartments are located. And so let's move to, we'll come back to the field. So Zach's house, he had a house in Mequon, and it is located here. And it is about an hour and some change to drive to and from Kenosha to Mequon. And which is important when it comes to the timeline later on. We'll talk about that later. So here we've got the tree farm. This starred area is the tree farm, the Anderson tree farm, the business that the Anderson family runs together, owns, all the things. They have a hand in the tree farm business. Zach and his brother Solomon also are contractors, independent contractors, so they do a lot of work in people's houses, rehab business, reconstruction, rehabs within homes. So one of those homes is actually the Susan Brown Williamson's property, and that's in Belgium, Wisconsin, and that is starred here, very close to the tree farm. And then there's Harrington Beach State Park, is also in Belgium, Wisconsin, and it is where they sent sonar to go look for human remains, and they did not find any in a couple areas, quarries, some smaller bodies of water in this area around around Susan Brown Williamson's property. They did some searching and came up with nothing. No evidentiary value whatsoever from those searches. Just saying. So, in addition to all of that, these dots are multiple cameras that would have seen Zach on the path if he would have been going to dispose of Rosalio's body, like the state is actually claiming that he did. There were many cameras along the way. The investigators, and it's in their reports, they scoured all sorts of video footage, all sorts of locations to find video footage, ring cameras, businesses with cameras, wherever they could find it, so that they could look for Zach's van. Well, nothing came up with his van, none of the cameras. So let's start here. So Kenosha PD canvassed the areas around Rosalio's apartment, Zach's home, the Anderson Greenview Tree Farm, and Susan Brown Williamson's property to find local surveillance cameras. They reviewed recorded footage from residential and commercial surveillance cameras and contacted the Wisconsin Department of Transportation and Illinois Tollway, because they also looked to see if he went into Illinois, and he did not. Specifically, they reviewed the footage and records for any sightings of or traffic violations for Zach's black 05 Dodge Caravan between 5/17 and 5/18, which was the proposed time frame of Rosalio's disappearance. So you can see these are all the different locations where they got camera and reviewed the recordings, and no license plate captures or violations pertaining to Zach's van during the time frame of concern. And that's pretty much going to be no footage of Zach or his van. It's going all along the lines, the whole way, the whole path that he would have taken, that they claim he would have taken. He would have passed so many. I mean, there's cameras everywhere now. And he wasn't on one of them. So, explain that. I'm going to reserve the interviews for the next episode, which is after this installment, part 2. We're going to go on to episode 4, which is going to be the state's case against Zach, and we're going to read through the probable cause affidavit, and I'm going to read through all of the interviews, so like everything that people said. So we're kind of going to see where the probable cause comes from. So we'll, if there is any, which I doubt, and we're going to go from there. I mean, probable cause is a very low threshold, so probable cause is easy to come by, but it's not, I guess you can make any kind of evidence fit for a probable cause, I think, because not any evidence, but you can make a lot of evidence fit a probable cause statement, because you can twist things, especially if you're the state and you're looking biasly at the interviews that they did. Well, first of all, I do want to start there too. I I've been researching this case more and more. I like to do deep dives, and I like to really dive into what I'm looking at, what I'm working on. And so I'm rewatching the trial. I watched it before. I'm watching it again just to try to look at it from a different perspective this time. The first time I looked at it with no skin in the game, I had no idea what or who any of the players were, and I didn't have any, I didn't have any sides. And now after watching the trial, first of all, after looking at evidence now that has been made available to the public, thank you to these FOIA requests, whoever, and I'm sure Zach's family releasing some of this information. That might have been their discovery as well, but it's just crazy that things happen the way that they did to get Zach in a guilty verdict. I think, I didn't think that there was enough there when I watched the trial in the first place, but I thought maybe the jury saw something I didn't, but I was kind of confused, but and then when Zach said at sentencing that he was not only not guilty, he was innocent, I was like, okay, not too many life enders, will go to bat and say I'm innocent like that. I mean, yes, people deny, but I don't know. There's the way that his pleadings to the judge that fell on deaf ears. That judge, oh my God, he was terrible. But anyways, it really made me open my eyes and look at this case differently. Now I'm looking at the case in an all new light. Since the trial ended, we now have interview footage of the law enforcement interviewing Zach, or should I say interrogating Zach, and he didn't even know he was being interrogated, which, by the way, you can find all of this information, I do want to point out. So I am on the freezachariahanderson.org page, official evidence, and if you go to electronics, you can find the 911 call, which I will play here shortly. I almost forgot I was going to play that, so glad I reminded myself. So we'll listen to Sadie's 911 call in a second here, but I did want to show you. You can you can find the text messages from Sadie and Rebecca here. You can find the last message exchange from Sadie and Rosalio, emails about the custody of the children, and all sorts of things on this page. You can also find the interviews here, which I did recently. You can find them here, and you can go to MLS Making Law Simple on YouTube. Dave on YouTube at MLS Making Law Simple has the videos in full there as well. So you can watch the interview of Sadie Beecham, which is 2 hours and 20 minutes, and then Zach's interrogation, which is a little over an hour. They basically took I'll just reiterate. Sadie, I don't know, there was a lot going back and forth in her commentary, and I feel like she was kind of all over the place, and regardless, they took everything she said at face value. They believed everything. The officer was just sitting, type. Oh, he must sound dangerous. Not doing any kind of investigation at all into stalking charges against Zach. And the thing is, Sadie brings these stalking charges to Zach the day Rosalio goes missing. So he was stalking her all these other times leading up to this point, so she says, but she never made any kind of reports or any complaints until Rosalio goes missing. So I don't know, it's a little suspicious to me. Her interview seemed a little bit suspicious as well, but I could also see it coming from, coming from a law enforcement officer who is sitting there listening. You want to take the victim's word for what they say, but you also have to do your due diligence and investigate what the complainant is telling you. Zach had plenty of reasonable explanations for some of the things, but it's like the officers didn't want to hear him when they were interrogating him. They hear for Sadie for 2 hours, and then they less than an hour or a little over an hour with Zach, and he's what's the word? My brain's not working. Sorry, migraine. They take him in. They incarcerate him before the end of the night. So he didn't even realize he was being investigated for any kind of crime. He was talking to them about the craziness that was going on with the mother of his children, and trying to understand and trying to figure out why she went from being a really good mother to now acting out and doing some questionable things. And the detectives didn't want to hear it. So I think that they rushed to judgment on the stalking, but I think they only wanted to get him on the stalking so that they could get him on Rosalio's disappearance. They wanted to hold him longer. That's my opinion. But anyway, so we're going to continue going through this. We're going through the investigation tab here on their website, but I wanted to show you the evidence you can find. We're going to go through the photos too. So you can find the electronics, text messages, 911 call. You can find the interview for Sadie and their interrogation for Zach, and there's some more things. There's Crime Stopper tips and things like that you can look for. If you're interested, it's very... I get lost in here for hours because I find this stuff interesting, but that's me. Anyways, all sorts of things, court documents, crime lab reports, so definitely feel free to go check that out. I'm not going to get into all of everything there. We already went through the text messages in the timeline portion, so for this, we're going to look at more so the investigation and the pictures and kind of call it quits there. But first, actually, I do want to... Hold on, I need to... Oops, what did I do? Studio mode is what I'm looking for. No. Okay. Come on. Sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once. Anyways, I was going to set up the 911 call, but it's not working. Oh, here we go. Okay. Sorry. Let me just do this real quick.
May 19, 2020, 11:07:23.
Kenosha 911, what's the address for emergency?
Let's see. The address is, oh gosh, sorry, I should know this. It's three, or actually I shouldn't know it. It's three, I'm just looking here. 3715. Is that the building? Yes, 3715. Mm-hmm.
And what street?
What was that?
What's the rest of the address? 3715 what?
15th Street. I'm not familiar with this area very well.
Is it Wood Creek?
15th Avenue, is it 15th?
15th Street is Wood Creek. What apartment?
1B. So I was doing a wellness check on a good friend of mine that I was dating, and I found it weird because I haven't talked to him for like 24 hours. And I just went to his house, and his screen door is wide open.
Okay.
And I knocked on the door, and I saw something like scattered on the outside of the outside door. And then I just, I kept calling his name and knocking on the windows and knocking on the doors, and the screen door is like wide open. And I just pulled the
Okay, so were you able to see inside?
Yeah, I pulled the blinds back, and there's blood all over the floor in the living room. And
Can you see him at all anywhere?
I didn't go any further.
Okay, and are you sure about 3715? I'm not showing that as one of the building numbers.
37. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Only just walk in front. I'm kind of freaking out. 3709. I'm sorry.
3709 15th Street, Apartment 1B. What's the phone number that you're calling from? What's his name?
Rosalio Gutierrez.
Okay. Do you know how old he is?
40.
Okay. And you can't see him at all, though?
I didn't go any further, no.
Okay.
I'm afraid. I just saw blood on the floor, and that's not normal.
Okay.
Something's not right. He's got
That's
kids.
it. We're gonna get officers over there. There's nobody else there that you could see?
Nope, he hasn't been answering the phone. Both of his vehicles are here. And like I said, his phone's been going straight to voicemail since, maybe 11 o'clock last night.
Do you know what his phone number is?
Yeah.
And when did you say the last time was that you spoke with him?
8:30 on Sunday night.
8:30 p.m. on Sunday night?
He texted me. Yeah, that was the last time he texted.
And he seemed fine? Everything seemed okay?
Everything seemed okay. He said he was going to go by a friend's house.
Okay.
And I said, well, call me when you're on your way home or whatever. And he said, okay. And that was the last I heard from him.
Okay. Do you know if he lives there with anybody?
Nope, he doesn't. I mean, we've been dating for like the last couple of months,
Okay.
and I don't.
But nobody else, he doesn't have a roommate, but you said kids. Do they normally stay there with him?
Yeah, he had his kids this last weekend, and he had just dropped them off, and
Okay.
and just said he had dropped them off and went to a friend's house.
Okay.
And I, didn't think anything of it, but then I thought it was odd that he didn't text me in the morning, because he usually texts me good morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then I texted him, and I didn't hear anything, and then I texted him that afternoon and didn't hear anything, and then I called, and it went straight to voicemail, and I thought that's weird. Like,
Okay.
It seems just strange.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we do have an officer on the way, so he's going to be there shortly. If you find out anything else, give us a call back, okay?
Should I go in? Do I not go in? Do I go check?
That's up to you, but if you don't feel safe going in, I don't suggest doing that. But I would probably not, just in case there's something else going on. It's better if you just wait outside for the officer.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
Okay, here I am. All right, so there was the 911 call, and one of the very first things off the bat that really got stuck out at me was the fact that so the dispatcher asks what's the address, and she says, let me see. The address says, oh gosh, sorry, I should know this. It's 3, or actually I shouldn't know it. Like, what? Why should she know it? She's only been dating the guy for 3 months. So why would she say I should know this, or actually I should know it? And so that part is really weird to me. And then the fact that she was asking about going in, and then later it seemed like in her in her interview with they should have interrogated her in the interview with law enforcement, she made it seem like she went in there already. The way that she was explaining it to me, and it almost sounded like she went in there before she made this call, and then, but in this call she was saying like, oh no, I didn't go in. Should I go in? Do you think, she asks at the very end. And the dispatcher is even like, if you don't feel safe, don't. Like, duh. So I don't know. Oh, by the way, you can also look up the transcript of this 911 call here on the official evidence tab, because they typed it out for you. You can read the 911 call after Sadie reported Rosalio missing on the 19th. So let's take a look at let's take a look at the photos first, and I'm going to put up a graphic warning. I apologize if you do not like BLOOD. So we're going to just kind of do a little slideshow. In fact, I'm going to make that a little bit bigger for you. Okay. So this is the outside of Rosalio's apartment. 3709 is the address. It does start with a 3. So she knew that much at least of his address. All right, so that's the outdoor, this is the main entrance into his building, and there is police tape, as you can see. So this is after police arrived, and these are all exhibit numbers. This is his unit, which is, as you can see, right next to the front door. I'm going to use my mouse here. You can see the tires of a little girl's bike, and in the next photo you can see the bike there, but that was hidden behind the bush. So his unit is immediately to the right when you enter this building. Apparently the buildings are not locked. There's no key or keypad entrance, no like key card or anything that's required. Anybody can enter. This is not a very secure building. Here is, if you remember from, I can't remember. I think it might have been Sadie who said it in the police interview, that there were tools and everything all spread out. And interestingly enough, Rosalio was also a contractor, so he had tools for his trade. He had, there's a hammer and some other things that were laying on the ground, like right in the entryway between the sliding glass door and his unit. And here are some pictures. You can see there's some cigarette butts in the lawn. There's some zoomed in. I know they did collect those cigarette butts as to testing them. I'm not exactly sure if they did test them or not, but here we are. I don't believe they did. As a matter of fact, I don't think they did, because I kind of remember Nicole Mueller, the defense attorney, one of the defense attorneys, questioning the officers regarding picking those up and collecting them and then having them getting tested and not knowing. All right, so here is the inside of the building, the front of Rosalio's unit 1B, and you can see here on the side there's some kind of looks like some splash marks. Those would appear to be BLOOD spatter stains. So we're going to talk a little bit about the spatter as well, but probably not in great detail. All right, so this is also inside his unit. You can see this plastic mat, which is usually used for like winter boots and things like that when they're wet, to let them dry off and drip. That was placed there after the attack, it would appear, because there were spatter stains behind it. There's spatter on the wall. As you can see, there's pooling on the ground here. And there's areas where you could see there might have been potentially an area rug. There's some earbuds on the ground. I don't know, some other things, but you can't really tell what they are. So this is his oil diffuser, kind of like the one I have back here that's always going. But their diffuser, so it's basically, from what I recall from the paperwork and from what I've listened to, it has about an 18-hour life for this particular diffuser. For the water to evaporate, it takes about 18 hours. But he had been missing for well over 24 at this point. So how was this still going? If he was missing, or if what happened to him happened on the 17th, May 17th, it wouldn't have still been going. But if something happened to him on the 18th, it's possible that it could have still been going. So there was also a knife that was found. And here is, you can barely see in the image, but this looked like his dining room and some chairs, but they were all moved. Everything was moved. Well, not everything. The dining room and chairs were moved like off to the side in this dining room area. And another, like an end table, or I guess you would call it like an end table or accent table that he had, was also moved from the original location of where it usually sat. And everything, this table right here, so all the things on top of it, the remotes, the plants, everything was placed back nicely. There wasn't any kind of, like, it didn't appear that there was a scuffle. It didn't appear, like things were strewn about. The TV was on. He had a smart TV, and it said his name, Rosalio, up there, like maybe it had timed out or something after a while, or his cable box did. I don't know. Again, here you can see, like, there's the lack of any kind of red fluid DNA there, but it pools around another spot. This looks like cast off or something, potentially, or drips from the victim, perhaps. Look at the baseball. Remember, he just bought the baseball bat and other, like, baseball uniform or baseball equipment for his son. And he liked, I think he coached his little league or something. And so he was really excited. He liked to get into baseball with his son. And he had just texted the day prior on Saturday. He told Sadie that he went and got a baseball bat and equipment with his son, and however many dollars later, and there was no baseball bat to be found in his apartment after he was reported missing. So here, I guess you would call this is what I'm assuming they're calling the void. You can see there was some seepage underneath the carpet, but it does appear like there would have been a carpet, but we don't know the carpet. We don't have any identifying information about that carpet, and it was never found. So knowing that there was a carpet there really doesn't help us a whole lot, other than his body was probably wrapped in it. Here is the area on his L-section couch where it does appear like someone sat down and was bleeding out. There was blood on the on the seat cushions as well as the back, and you can see it looks like it was dripping down. Sorry for the graphic pictures, but it is what it is. Here's the wallet that that investigators stated was placed on top of that cushion after the spattered stains got on there. So it's very likely that the person who did something to Rosalio is the one who placed the wallet there. But again, I do not believe that they even tested for DNA or fingerprints or anything like that on the wallet. Here you've got, again, they're just showing how everything was like placed back on the tables here, but you can see that the tools were not. The tools are all over the place. There is a hammer here. I can't tell what anything else really is except maybe a tape measure. It doesn't even appear that they tested everything. Here's the bedroom. There really wasn't any evidence in the bedroom. There was a pizza box that was in the kitchen. There were limes that he was cutting. Remember, he had Narita coming over for a date night. He told Sadie he was going to hang out with Michael Campbell, and he told another lady that he was dating Kim Lavora, I think is her name. He told her that he was going to Menards or something. So he had 3 different stories, 3 different things he was doing that night. He was also in communication with his friend Michael Campbell, who he owed money to, and you will find out that actually Rosalio owed a lot of money to a lot of people. He was not in a good shape financially, and unfortunately, I mean, it happens sometimes, and there were multiple people that wanted money from him, and it was noted in the trial that his mother was paying a lot of his, or not a lot, but I don't know how many, but she was helping him with his bills, with his rent and things like that. So those were the limes for his Corona, I'm assuming, because he had a Corona bottle in the trash. There was a Canada Dry ginger ale bottle in the trash, which was never tested for DNA. These things were not processed properly. The scene was not processed properly. There's a bunch of garbage here, whatever that is, probably not processed. I wonder if it was the garbage chute, like this is probably the garbage chute or the dumpster, what was in the dumpsters that day, and they didn't process it all. They chose not to even go to the landfill in Illinois, that they had a tip to go to a landfill. They chose not to look in the garbage and put their resources elsewhere. All right, so that was the images from Rosalio's apartment. We're going to move on to Zach's arrest photos. So here's Zach. T-shirt, jeans, flip-flops. From what I remember from the trial, that's pretty much his regular attire. Even in winter, he liked to wear his flip-flops, I remember them saying. And he was just a simple guy. Simple, no mess, no fuss, he was just a simple guy. T-shirt and jeans. So here are pictures of his hands. Obviously, when you are in a fight with somebody, you would have potentially, marks on your own body from being in a fight with someone or trying to end someone's life. But as you can see, Zach had no markings. I'm not sure when these were taken exactly. What does it say? It says the 16th. 3/16/23. So that would be well after. Right? Isn't that what that says? 3/16/23. Rosalio went missing in 2020. So I guess they didn't, unless these were taken after they picked him up that night for talking, and they're dated wrong. I don't know. These are all, they all say 3, you know what, that's probably when they were filed as exhibits, so I take that back. Those pictures probably were from right when he was taken into custody and questioned. His interrogation that he didn't even know was an interrogation, and once he started talking like, hey, I think I might need a lawyer, they didn't give him a lawyer. Okay, so this is Zach's house. This is the house that he was living in. Now, mind you, he's a contractor. He was working on it. I know that a lot of the upkeep of it was kind of on the way, went on the back burner because he had, other responsibilities with taking care of the kids, financial responsibilities. He and his brother were flipping houses, so they needed like large amounts of cash to be free for, buying and selling houses at auction and things like that, so that they could rehab them and make money off of them to turn them for money. So, mind you, his house was a fixer-upper, and he was, like I said, a simple guy, so he didn't see the problem with staying in a fixer-upper. This is on his property. He had a garbage receptacle, which was used by him and Solomon for their rehab purposes, their business. They put a lot of garbage in their construction garbage and whatnot. Plus, they had land and things like that. But anyways, like the tree farm and stuff. So this is, and Zach lives in the country, by the way. He's a lot further from like the bigger towns, which would be Milwaukee in this case, and Madison. So he's more in the country area. And as you can see, he's still like in the process of doing the floors and things. His house has junk in, well, this is like the back porch area, enclosed back porch. He's got bleach that looks like it's been sitting there for ages. If you look at the bottle, it's filthy. It doesn't look like it's been touched in quite some time. But they're trying to say that this bleach that he used to clean up BLOOD stains in the trunk or in the back of his van, when there was not even any indication that he used bleach or any kind of cleaning agents in his car. This is his burn pit, and I'm a suburbanite. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, lived here almost my whole life. So I'm more used to city urbanite living, but then, there's this whole country living that, I think I would actually really enjoy, where you don't have garbage pickup every, as frequently, and it's expensive to haul trash if you live in the country. So instead of throwing things away, Zach burned a lot of things. That's how they do it in the country. When you're not living so close to a city and you have property and land to do things on, you can do that. So they're saying because Zach threw away a lot of his clothes or burned his clothes, none of the things in his burn pit were ever biologically linked to Rosalio. So let's start out by saying that. So the things that they found in his trash, or in his burn pit, were, socks and items that, buttons from his Levi's. And, he would burn clothes. That is a GPS tracker, which we'll get back to. So in the burn pit, it's not unusual to burn your clothes, but it appears that the state made it appear that the items that they found, the socks, there was like an band from elastic band from underwear or something, and then like the tips of the steel toe boots and the buttons. So they claimed that this was all Rosalio's clothes, but little did they expand on the fact that there was a lot of clothing items, not just like one person's outfit of clothing items. It was a lot of clothing items that were in that burn pit, because that's what Zach did. He would just occasionally burn clothes when he got rid of them. And that just happened to be at the time that these investigators came over and found his burn pit, or had a search warrant for his burn pit. And it was raining too, so he had it going in the rain, so it wasn't a very hot fire. So, and it's not like you could get rid of a person. I don't think people understand how hot a fire needs to be in order to get rid of a body. You cannot just get rid of a body with an ordinary fire in your backyard. It's not going to happen. You need agents to help it burn hotter and faster, and you can't just, anyways, you're going to have fragments of bones and things left, and clothing items that get left behind. So let's get back to this tracker. It was alleged Sadie believed that Zach was tracking her, yet there was no tracker ever found on her car, no tracker ever found on Rosalio's car. And these trackers, I heard in an interview, they did buy a couple. Zach bought a couple on his Amazon account, and Sadie, I think she probably, jumped to conclusions, or just, it might be concerning, but she didn't even ask Zach. She didn't ask him about it. She just jumped to conclusions, seeing, because she peeked into his Amazon tracking and saw that that he had purchased these trackers. Well, anyways, the purpose of these trackers is what I heard that they were for from Solomon Anderson, Zach's brother, is that with their business, their reconstruction business, they have a few different cars, and if sometimes, they might not be using the cars, or, they have workers, they have other employees that are helping them, contract workers or whatnot that will use their cars. So in order to track the cars and make sure that, people are where they're supposed to be for their business, that's what these trackers, the purpose of these trackers were for, according to Solomon. So take of that what you will. I think it's a reasonable explanation. Some people, I'm sure, don't, but just because he's having issues with his ex about custody doesn't mean that he's a violent psycho stalking his ex and trying to get revenge and hurt people that she loves. Just because that's what our media wants us to think that's what he is, that doesn't necessarily mean that is what he is. You got to look at all the evidence, not just the narrative that the state is telling you or that Sadie's telling you. So here is, I'm not going to go through all of these. It's basically just them documenting the car. This is Zach's minivan, the Dodge Caravan. As you can see, it's old. It's a beat up car that I'm sure, served its purpose for work, for, banging it up and putting items in it for rehabbing houses. I'm trying to skip us to the back part where we get to the... I want to get to the back. So here you can see there's like some partial carpeting, but not all carpeting is still intact. You can see the floor is filthy. It hasn't been cleaned any time recently. So there's a stain there, but that was never proved to be blood or anything, as It's just a dirty old van. I mean, they're trying to say that something probably spilled in there. Oh, they're saying this is bleach stains that get out of here. It's discolored, yes. And they're trying to say that this is bleach. There's like portions of carpet that are removed over here. And I mean, look at this floor. Does it look like if someone had just recently ended someone and moved their body in this car? Do you think that it would look like this? Do you think after cleaning it would look like this? Would they leave it just like this? No. All the BLOOD that you saw in Rosalio's apartment would have been seeping through that carpet and all over the floor of this minivan. You would see it. This stain or whatever, that's probably been there for ages. And yeah, if he had a rolled up body in his car, it wouldn't just be in this little area either. So that's what they're saying. That's the state's theory, is that's all cleanup, I guess, or something. Even though, does it look clean to you? No. And then there's some spots on the ceiling with some reddish brownish color to it. At some point they find like a pinprick of something, and I don't know if it's marked in the car. This is where the carpet was pulled up. It's ripped up here, but not back there. So it's really, you think that he ripped the carpet out just to get rid of BLOOD stains? Wouldn't his 240 pound or 270 pound body like fill up the whole truck? I would think it wouldn't just be this tiny little portion where he cut out carpet and then bleached over here. Come on. I think that they're really reaching here. So, anyways, there was a stain. Like I said, I was going to tell you before I get into the carpet. So they found this paperwork and just other junk in his car. They found a tiny, tiny little pinprick of a spot that they claim to be biological material, and the woman who the DNA analyst said on the stand, without any kind of with a certainty of this much percentage, I say that it's Rosalio's DNA. She claimed that it was Rosalio's DNA, even though in her paperwork and things like that, it did not equate to that. It was, her findings were, I cannot clearly tell you what this is, but yet now she's saying it's Rosalio's DNA with no level of certainty or scientific basis for her findings. That's just more photos, as you can see, of the truck. They really thought this truck was used to hide a body for reasons I do not know. There's pictures of it getting towed and taken to another place for analysis. We don't need to see that. Okay. Zach's Audi. This was Zach's other car. There's really nothing of evidentiary value was found in either of his cars, so there's nothing really to say about his Audi. Here are pictures of a section. There was a burn pit, another burn pit at the Anderson tree farm, and this is used for burning, trees, debris, things on their property that, they have a large property and they're trying to get rid of things. So it's not unusual to have a burn pit. I'm sure branches and things, when you clean them up, they put them in a pile and burn them. So this is some investigators sifting through all the ashes and debris from the burn pit, and again, nothing of evidentiary value came up. Finally, this is Michael Campbell's alibi. Basically, 2 pictures saying like he's home with his kid, taking a picture of his kid doing some weird dance or something, acting like I'm home at this time. And here's my disgusting supermarket sushi that I'm about to eat for dinner. So this is my alibi. I'm home. I didn't do anything to Rosalio. That's what we know. That's the only thing we know of Rosalio. And then, or of Michael Campbell, sorry. And then this is, and remember, this had to do with the whole jailhouse snitch thing where, like, they had in trial, he had a gentleman from jail who was bettering his own sentence come in and say that he bunked with Zach at one point, and Zach told him that he did it and he ended Rosalio's life. But then I can't remember what the exact why they showed these pictures, but at some point they were separated, or maybe it was a different guy that he was separated from. I can't remember all the specifics right now, but it had something to do with, there's no way that they could have been communicating from this vantage point, because like Zach's was down here and the other person's was like up here or something. I don't remember. It was like on 2 different floors. It's like, how could you even communicate from the opposite ends of the jail? So that was part of, what's his name, Marquand Washington's testimony. I believe it was Marquand. So this, again, I just wanted to bring this up again. 1,373 days and 13 hours, 29 minutes, and 41 seconds that Zach has been incarcerated wrongfully, doing time for someone else's crime, whose we don't know, but we were not given a full investigation, so how can we know in that regard? All right, so I can zoom out just slightly. I'm very zoomed in, but I want you guys to be able to see it. All right, so I can take the trigger warning off now. We went through all the photos. So again, I don't know. It's crazy, this whole thing. So May 19th, this is what they took from Rosalio's apartment. A search warrant was executed at the apartment of Rosalio, and detectives began investigating the scene. So they took his laptop. No exam was performed, though. Why? Chromebook found, password protected. The passwords were not known, so no exam was performed. Okay, well, maybe there might have been some clues as to what happened to your missing person. Cigarette butts from the front yard, not tested. There was some, I'm not going to read through everything here. So blue toothbrush from bathroom, that was a single source profile for Rosalio Gutierrez Jr. There was a purple latex glove from the floor of the bathroom. Not tested. Not tested. Alrighty. So, a swab from the large pool of blood was known to be Rosalio Gutierrez Jr. as the source. They did track down Rosalio's dad as well for some DNA, and they got his mother's DNA to make sure that they were correctly. These might be the children, I'm assuming. What? Julian Gutierrez. Or maybe that's from the dad. I'm not sure. And then here is a single source female, Rosalio Gutierrez Jr., Celia Patterson, Zachariah Anderson, and Julian Gutierrez are all excluded. So whatever female toothbrush there was, Zach wasn't on it. Okay. Human DNA test detected on a purple-white toothbrush. It was a two-person mixture, but no comparisons can be made. That's interesting. Hairs determined to be unsuitable for analysis that were found on the sofa. So this is all issues with her investigation, if you can't tell. So blood swab from interior main doorknob. It was human DNA detected, single source male profile, Rosalio Gutierrez Jr. is the source. Additional possible trace allele was detected. However, no conclusion was made during the evaluating of the allele. So there could have been another person's DNA on there, possible DNA. DNA touch swab from interior patio door handle. Four-person mixture, at least one male. Major male contributor is Rosalio Gutierrez Jr. The minor profile was not suitable for comparison due to the complexity of the mixture, limited amount of genetic information. So they weren't able to determine who the other three people were, it seems. A swab from the sofa seat cushion. Two-person mixture, at least one male. Major male contributors, Rosalio Gutierrez Jr., a minor contributor, not suitable for comparisons due to the limited amount of genetic information available. Swab from the exterior door frame. Rosalio Gutierrez is the source. Swab from exterior door. Rosalio is the source. Swab door lock value. So the value must have been not very good in order to compare. The hair from the living room floor was Rosalio Gutierrez Jr. is the source. Well, it's not unusual that the hair of the person that lives there would be on the floor. Then there was another hair or fiber that was unsuitable for analysis. A piece of wood from living room floor had BLOOD detected on it, and Rosalio was the source. So where did that piece of wood come from? Would it come from the weapon? The weapon that was used to bludgeon him? Did it shatter off of the weapon at some point in the struggle? So here's a swab from the exterior door handle, or door center, at the nameplate. Rosalio is the source. Latent print lift. So other things that we really have no information on. All these things, the footprints, there's a straight razor, and Zachariah was excluded. Rosalio, single source male profile. Rosalio was excluded though too. So I don't know. So those were the items tested or not tested, basically, from the apartment that you would think might have been some significance of the investigation. Kenosha PD continued the search of Rosalio's apartment on May 25th, and additional items were collected for evidence. So his router, his sink, a swab in the sink, swab on the kitchen counters, more prints, latent prints lifted from the Lysol bottle in the kitchen. But what was the point of any of that? Because all you did was test the swab from the BLOOD, and it's Rosalio, so they didn't give you any information. May 28th, Kenosha PD had released the apartment from their protective custody. So Rosalio's mom, Celia, arrives for the first time on the 28th at 5:34 a.m. and notifies Kenosha PD around 11:30 a.m. that she had found Rosalio's cell phone and wallet in the freezer. Kenosha PD returns to the apartment to obtain these items. They found that it was Rosalio's phone. Did they do any kind of data dump or anything? No. Human DNA detected Rosalio Gutierrez Jr. is the source on the cell phone. Swabs on the cell phone. Additional possible trace allele was detected. However, no conclusions were made. So Rosalio was on it, as well as some other trace alleles, but they couldn't identify whose they were. So there you have the evidence within Rosalio's apartment. Here you have the Parkside Field, which was a field just west, right, of his apartment. And I think, if I'm looking at the map correctly, so I think Rosalio's apartment is here. And this is the field that they searched. On the 19th, Kenosha County Sheriff's Department used a drone to conduct an aerial search of the fields and ditch lines immediately west of Rosalio's apartment. Nothing of evidentiary value is found, and no ground search is performed. So all they did was an aerial search using drones, I think. Yeah, drones. And then they didn't even go by foot. Because Sadie said, oh, Zach probably did it. I'm not saying he did it, but he could have done it. Because she said that, I think that's why they just went straight into Zach did it without doing any real investigative work. Alright, so from Zach's house, a search warrant under suspicion for stalking was executed. Not for Rosalio's disappearance, not for unaliving somebody, but for stalking. They get a search warrant. And why? His blue Dodge and black Audi were located at the residence. Zach was taken into custody and his clothing was secured for evidence. So his clothing, so the things that he was wearing, the t-shirt and jeans and flip-flops, and that was the night, I believe, that they took those pictures. Alright, so Levi's, no blood detected, cutting from the right cuff of his jeans, partial low-level mixture, profile not suitable for comparison, cutting from the left leg of his jeans, two-person mixture, at least one male, Zachariah Anderson assumed to be one, and look who were excluded: Rosalio Gutierrez Jr., Celia Patterson, Julian, or I'm assuming maybe that is the father, Julian Gutierrez, and an unknown female profile from Toothbrush at Rosalio's were all excluded. So no DNA on Zach's pants that link him at all to Rosalio. Alright, so May 20th, a search warrant under suspicion for the missing person. So this is the very next day. They got a search warrant for a missing person and homicide case was executed by Kenosha PD at Zach's home. Mequon PD, Ozaukee County Sheriff's Department, Mequon Fire Department, and Madison PD assisted. Madison PD responded with a canine. Zach's van was seized and towed to the Milwaukee Crime Lab before the canines arrived. A laser scanner and drone were used to record the exterior burn pit. So he had a flip phone, had not been used in years, another blue flip phone. Last activity was in 2010. Clorox bleach bottle, unopened, full. One that was partially burned in the fire pit. But again, he used bleach and things to clean his, I'm sure, tools and used bleach within his for his job for cleaning and whatnot. I'm sure, sometimes when you're demoing things, it gets nasty and dirty, and sometimes you gotta Clorox something. All right, so chainsaw. They took his chainsaw, his laptop, five buttons from the burn pit, Fruit of the Loom underwear band. They took $3,350 worth of cash inside the residence. Wells Fargo bank statements, a chainsaw, fire poker, swab of reddish fluid substance from the chainsaw, which, by the way, is lubricated with something that is red in, like, reddish in color, a liquid fluid substance is used. I learned this in one of the episodes I was listening to from Wrongful, I believe it was, regarding my dog's barking, regarding the chainsaws and other why is my brain not working? Other tools that Zach may have had, power tools, would possibly use this, like, reddish lubricating substance for, like, the chainsaw, the tool, drills and things like that. So I don't know. I know nothing about power tools, but whatever. So May 21st, Kenosha PD, Mequon PD, okay, so all those people again, start looking at his property, or their back for his property. A septic tank was pumped and nothing of evidentiary value was found. Because the canine did not indicate on the septic tank, the contents were not retained. The full dumpster on the property was dumped and nothing of evidentiary value was found. So there were several small bones that were found in the fire pit. All bones were determined to be non-human. Septic tank contents and dumpster, nothing of value. On the 25th, they searched Zach's home again. Additional items were collected. Fluid from the kitchen sink catch. Fluid from the kitchen sink catch 2. Fluid from the bathroom sink catch. Nothing of evidentiary value. So he didn't, Rosalio's DNA isn't inside Zach's house, or on Zach's things. But yet Zach is in prison for apparently making Rosalio disappear. May 28th, they search his house again. A brown leather Jameson sheath and a red dry fluid substance. Initial wet-dry swab did not produce a red substance on the swab tips. A gym bag. 30 each children's show videos copied to it in... What? 30 each children's shows videos copied to it on 4/26. Nothing relevant to the case found. An SD card. Sorry, it was an SD card within the gym bag. They found a bunch of videos of the kids. So nothing. Nothing. December 20th, 2020. So on December 6th, Detective Lauren Anschutz removed Zach's computer from evidence and reviewed the contents. The first thing he observed was a Word document entitled Custody, which contained a log of evidence dating April 18th to May 19th. In it, Zach had documented information pertaining to interactions with Sadie, interactions with his daughter, what his daughter had been telling him, Sadie's behavior, and other issues pertaining to Sadie or the kids. Anschutz outlines in his report that nothing was written for the dates of April 8th through the 23rd or April 26th through the 30th. All other dates had documentation. However, he does not mention in his report what is written for the dates of April 24th and 25th, starting his summary of the entry log on May 1st. Any dates missing from the log did not have entries. So please note, these entries are currently summarized based on what is written in Detective Anschut's report and will be revised as needed once the actual Word document is obtained. So, summary of custody log entry. May 1st, Zach documents, she is going to see that guy she pretends is just a friend. It really bothers me that she is trying to lead me on. Because she's still leading him on. We read through all of the text messages. She's still, like, calling him babe and Z-Bear, all up until when this happened, when Rosalio goes missing. Alright, so May 6th, Zach documents a situation with OA. May 8th, Zach documents that Sadie is all dolled up and knows where she is heading. May 10th, Zach documents that he located his missing phone after calling his service provider in the north side of Kenosha. He indicates that this is where Sadie's boyfriend lives, and that when he asked to have it back, Sadie demanded the truth. He documents, she keeps demanding the truth, but whatever I tell her, that either one of the kids took it. But whenever I tell her that either one of the kids took it. Okay, that's the alright, I don't know. She keeps demanding the truth, but whenever I tell her that either one of the kids took it, what? She doesn't believe me. Okay. May 13th, Zach documents that Sadie tells him her friend is watching the kids and she's going out. Zach documents, I am expecting she is going on a date tonight with her new someone, except that she said that she has the kids. She said she had his kids last weekend. Oh, his kids last weekend. So May 14th, Zach documents that he is being accused of stalking by Sadie. Zach documents that he accidentally sent a text regarding watching TV. Zach documents that Sadie is paranoid and denies tracking a phone that he dropped in her car. So, I mean, the things that he said in his interrogation to the law enforcement totally tracks with what these notes are saying. Alright, so May 16th, Zach documents that Sadie had been taking the kids to bars. He states Sadie is typically in Kenosha by 9 p.m. based on her schedule. He states any child support will be spent on babysitters and gas money for her to spend her nights in Kenosha, and that would be Sadie's version of how money is spent on the kids. Zach also documents she still does not know where her and the kids are going to move in July. Either that or she has more serious plans with the new boyfriend she isn't willing to divulge. Interesting because he was dating multiple women at once. So I don't think he was ready for anything serious with Sadie. Especially since that was another thing that Sadie said in her interview with the police. She's like, oh yeah, I know all about the mothers of Rosalio's kids, and they know all about me too, because we've been dating for a while. And then you find out like they knew nothing about her. Rosalio wasn't talking about her. So it really does make you wonder, like, what other things is Sadie, like, not telling the truth about. Alright, so Zach, on the 18th and 19th, Zach documents concerns about Sadie's paranoia and probable use of a white substance that she can snort up her nose. Yeah. So he was already suspecting that she was doing substances. He was reporting and documenting, like he should have been, that Sadie's behavior was a little out of control. There were There were some issues regarding possibly Sadie getting a little out of hand anger-wise with her children, and for that reason, Zach wanted O to be able to have a phone so that she could record instances of these problems that she was having with the mother, of Sadie being, either violent or just making no sense. All right, so on December 3rd, Detective Anschutz completes an evaluation of the downloaded information from Zach's phones. His report does not outline which of Zach's two G6 phones this was. So this is the report of one of his phones. He was looking, he deleted some image, he tracked his phone, looked up a Colorado license plate, Eugene Pearson, which is Patterson probably, Office Max, map locations, and Zach's location, Google Quick Search, voice recorder, recording app. That is a screenshot. Okay. There's nothing really. Mayo Clinic, Johnny Cash songs, Fidelity, Find My Phone, Bill Murray quotes, Mushroom Princess brown hair. What? What is Mushroom Princess? I don't think I want to know. All right, so anyways, these are his searches or his phone activity. There's nothing really like, considering that Sadie was acting strange, her behavior had drastically changed from good mother to now acting out and being evasive and not telling Zach things and not taking good care of the kids. Apparently, if she's going to bars with them and whatever, I think he has every right to kind of look into the people that she might be bringing into children's lives. So if he's doing a little bit of a background check on Rosalio, I don't see a problem with that. The information is out there for a reason, and people, it's a good thing to internet search your blind dates that you meet off of dating apps and things like that, because you don't know people and you want to make sure that you're not going to be deceived in some way or hurt in some way. So it's okay to look up the boyfriend that your ex-girlfriend is now seeing. Detective Anschutz reports that he observed deleted videos taken on these dates, all of these dates. These videos had no data or images associated due to them being deleted. So all these, he claims there was all this stuff that was deleted. Come here, cutie. Oh, okay. My dog likes to get under the blankets. So, more information, deleted audio files. I don't understand what does any of this matter? It's not really. Here is a conversation from the 14th, Zach OA conversation. Zach talks about getting an attorney and child custody. He talks about how Sadie wasn't cooperating with custody. Zach talks about how Sadie's newest ties to Kenosha and how Sadie was probably down in Kenosha again. OA asks about his new girlfriend, and Zach talks about her. Zach mentions that Sadie isn't truthful about the extent of her relationship with the Kenosha guy, but mentions he knows what is going on, calls it funny stuff, and says it doesn't feel right. Zach talks to OA about doing the thing that we talked about, and about her forgetting her key. Zach tells her to keep her key in her backpack and to always remember her backpack. Zach tells her that they will figure things out. Zach hangs up up with OA but keeps recording. Oh, so this was a recorded call that he made with OA. Zach makes a call to Susan and talks about how he will be there tomorrow. He continues to record after they get off the phone. Nothing else is captured. Recording of phone ringing and nobody answers. Recording of Zach and OA conversation. Zach asks about the date and states he can't find his phone. Zach talks about how he talked to Sadie, but she refuses to let the children go with him. Zach and OA talk about how Sadie has been skipping work, going to the bar, and has not been following through with her promises. Zach and OA discuss Sadie's behavior and decisions, especially Sadie's drinking. So that's pretty much it for the recordings. Other ones are like, it looks like directions to places. Where, I don't know. But we never have him going to Rosalio's on like phone with phone data or anything of the sort. We don't have him in the vicinity of Rosalio's, but we do have GPS of Rosalio going over to Zach's apartment or Zach's house to check him out. And we know that Sadie gave Rosalio Zach's home address. So here is what they got from the van. On May 20th, officers of Kenosha PD execute a search warrant at Zach's home in Mequon, Wisconsin. The van was present at the home and was visually inspected by officers prior to getting towed. The van was towed from his home before canines arrived, so they don't know if a canine would have what's the word? Made a reaction to it. I don't know. All right, so determined. Here's the Walmart receipt that was from the dashboard of the van, determined to be from 5/18. So possibly the day that Rosalio goes missing or the day after. We are not sure. So he went to Walmart. Remember that leisurely 20-minute stroll through Walmart where he was buying things like cotton swabs, Old Spice, shampoo, Playtex gloves, garbage bags, sardines, and Clorox wipes. First of all, remember, this is back in the height of COVID. Anytime you found Playtex gloves or Clorox wipes in stock, you pretty much purchased them because they were very hard to come by. And garbage bags, I'm assuming he probably needed, they're 13 gallon, so they're not big. They're more like, kitchen garbage can size. So they're not large. You can use them for his business, but it's not like he would be able to put a body in a 13 gallon bag. All right, so they also took his wallet, no evidentiary value. On the 16th, a search warrant for the van was served. Detectives took photographs and removed a section. They removed a section of the carpet for evidence. Kenosha PD officers returned to the van on the 15th, so that they last looked at it in 2020. They go back in 2022, March 15th of 2022, and collect other items of evidence at the request of District Attorney Michael Gravely. I wonder if this is because Gravely knew they didn't have enough. Specifically, they were instructed to obtain all of the contents located in a drawer underneath the front passenger seat. So they went back and grabbed all of these things that were under his seat. A knife, rubber bands, Mad Libs, sardines, a Menards receipt, Q-tips, one Q-tip, sorry, an Anytime Fitness receipt, a AAA card, DeWalt bits and screws, Walmart receipt, all these things. Nothing that ever came of evidentiary value whatsoever. So that was the van. Processing of the van. Let's look at the tree farm. So we already did kind of look at that. This says swab from tractor steering wheel, human DNA detected, low-level partial female profile, Rosalio Gutierrez Jr., Celia Patterson, Zachariah Anderson, and Julian Gutierrez are all excluded. So there was some female DNA on the steering wheel. Swab from tractor gear shift. Also, same thing. Human DNA detected there, but not Zachariah, not Rosalio, not Celia, and not Julian. On the 28th, officers of Kenosha, all these random units that keep showing up to these places. And this was with the forensic anthropologist. They showed up May 28th. This is also in 2020. Oh, in 2020. Okay. So this was just, this was at Zach's with the fire pit. They were excavating the fire pit, and they had forensic anthropologists on site to identify things that were determined, all these bone fragments that were determined to be non-human. They were mostly bone, I think, or bird, and can't remember what else. But no human DNA. That was in some burnt carpet that they found in the burn pit. All these bone pieces were not human, as we know now. So June 3rd, Kenosha PD detectives returned to the tree farm to conduct a walking search, and Sheboygan County Sheriff's deputies provided scene security. Detectives believed that they briefly smelled a faint odor of decaying flesh near the north end of the property. They searched the area on foot extensively and did not locate the odor again or its source. They did not note any disturbances indicating a clandestine grave. Nothing of evidentiary value was found. So they thought they smelled some decaying flesh, and for a second, it was like one guy thought he smelled it, and then another guy was like, oh yeah, I think I smell it too. And nothing came of that. All right, so a search warrant was served in July to the farm again. So they went and all these units were on site. A search of the entire property was conducted using a search line, a line search method. Canines marked on several areas of the property, which were checked visually and digging by hand, determined that none of the sites were clandestine graves. The canines also marked on the mower deck of a mower in the barn. No human remains were found. So these dogs marked on several spots on the property. There were no human remains anywhere on the property, but they did find animal remains because it's a large property. It's woodland area. It's, deer probably end up unalive on their property, and they might have to burn, or whatnot, do something with it, other wildlife. So it wouldn't be uncommon to put their bones in, or put their carcasses in the burn pits and have that take care of it. Susan's house. let's just see what they say about Susan's property. On May 28th, Kenosha PD officers responded to the residential property of Susan Brown Williamson after learning that Zach was doing work on the property and had access with a key. With Susan's presence and cooperation, officers conducted a walking search of both the residence and the 1.5 acres of land. So Susan had a big property. Based on the walkthrough, officers were able to confirm that the residence was currently under renovation. There were no immediate signs of evidence located, and much of the land appeared undisturbed for a long period of time. They go back in July and conduct a search warrant on her property with canines, and nothing of evidentiary value was found. As you can see, it's like they go back and back and back to these places trying to find more and more evidence, because the evidence that they originally got doesn't lead Zach to Rosalio at all. So they keep going back and looking for more. They're like, we must have the right guy. We have to. Instead of maybe evaluate what you are doing and look at the fact that, maybe he didn't do it. And you were very blindsided in your investigation. Because I went through all of the reports and everything, and nobody else was looked at. Not even one other person was looked at as a suspect, including Sadie, who was the one who reported him missing. You always suspect the person who reports the person missing. Always. Even if it's not, even if it's like, a distraught family member, you still suspect them in your first initial questioning of them. She was not questioned. She was allowed to leave the scene immediately to go pick up her kids because she thought she was worried about her kids. But then she does come back and it does the interview, at the police station with her child in tow. Olivia, the daughter, the young kid, she brings her daughter to the police and interview, basically, where she is talking about how Zach probably did something to her new boyfriend, who she has only known for 3 months. You've known Zach at least 12 years, 13 years, and you're gonna think that this guy Rosalio is just this perfect person with I'm not victim blaming, but the fact that they didn't even look into Rosalio or his background or like who he was talking to, they didn't look into his computer or his phone, anything. That's the first thing you do with a missing person. You don't immediately go to your suspect and look at their phone. You do both. You look at both. You corroborate that there were text messages or, whatever might add up. You look at the evidence of your the person who reports the missing person. You look at them. You look at people in that victim's life. It usually is the person that they know, not a stranger. And Zach would have been a stranger. Anyways, okay, sorry. This case makes me mad. So nothing was found at her property. They went back, Susan's property. They went back, did another search. Nothing was found. Here we're going to see again. July 2020, on July 17th, Kenosha PD searched Quarry Lake and Puckett's Pond at Harrington Beach State Park with the assistance of a Madison PD officer and his canine partner. This area was searched because it was close in proximity to Susan Brown Williamson's property. But you have no proof that Zach ever even went there. But you're just saying like it was searched because it was close to proximity. Yeah. But where's the proof that Zach ever even went to that property to dispose of the body? All right. So this area was searched because it was close to her property, which Zach was working on. Nothing was found. They went back again in June the next year. They searched Quarry Lake again. Using 2 methods, a small boat was deployed with a side scan and down imaging sonar. This sonar provides a visual display of items on the lake bed. Remote-operated submersible vehicle, or a ROVE, was deployed from various shore locations. The ROVE uses a combination of sonar and a camera to locate and identify subsurface objects of items, and a thorough search was yielded. No human remains were found. A thorough search yielded no human remains or items of evidentiary value that were found. So nothing in the quarries, the lakes, the ponds, whatever, the state park, the Harrington Beach State Park, the different locations that they searched there, nothing came up. And I think, and we talked about the cameras and how all these cameras would have seen him. We did go over all these again. So there was no camera footage of him even going there to dispose of the body that they think he did. I'm going to leave it here. I think, we've really delved into all the evidence, in the investigation itself. We're going to next time, like I said, we're going to go through the probable cause affidavit, and then I'm going to read through all of the interviews. It's going to be like a recap of what everybody said in their police interviews and what information the police had at that time before they arrested him. So we're going to get into that next time. I hope you join me. Again, I'm sorry for not being on my game totally, for having a migraine and coming out. And actually, I do feel a little bit better coming out here and talking. So glad I did so. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me know what you think about this case. Let me know what you think about the investigation. How come they kept going back multiple times? Oh, because they didn't have anything on Zach, so they had to keep going back. And is that fair? Are investigators allowed to just keep searching and searching and searching for evidence when it's pretty darn clear on the surface that the person that they have in custody isn't their person? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think about this Michael Campbell person? What do you think about Sadie? I'm not saying anything. I'm just putting out the facts. I'm not trying to accuse anybody. I'm just saying what I'm observing here. So just putting that out there. All right. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Take care.